Good morning. I'd like to thank you again for joining me on another Tuesday Live here at Rogers Gardens. Today we're going to be talking about how to grow healthy roses. Roses are one of those things kind of steeped in mystery, and people think that they're super difficult to grow, but actually they're just a plant that needs maintenance. It's definitely not a no maintenance series of plants. You have to really enjoy getting out there, looking at your roses and taking care of them. So we're going to kind of start in January, although it is the end of May. January, you always want to cut your roses back. You usually can do this between January 1st and February 15th. You're going to prune your roses back to about this high and try and give them a slight bowl cut so that they look a little bowly. You're going to cut the cross branching and just clean it up, defoliate it, and get it ready for the growth. It's funny, in Southern California, our roses don't stop growing, so there's no dormant time. It's just a quiet time for them, and we want to cut them back and keep them healthy so that they don't get too rangy and leggy. And then you're going to start fertilizing them, and that is probably number one for roses. If you want beautiful roses and if you want them to flower all season long, fertilizer is the key. It helps them stay healthy and happy, and it also helps to keep pests away. The stronger a plant is, just like with you, the stronger it's going to fight off pests and diseases and things like that. So fertilize every month. We have some beautiful, perfect fertilizer. This is Rose and Flower Food. It comes in a, I think it's a 5-pound box, but you're going to use about a cup each month. Just sprinkle it on the roots and it is going to be just perfect. It'll slowly release into the soil and feed the roots, help them take up nutrients from the soil and bring it out to the ends of the roses. A lot of people right now are into Alfalfa Meal for their roses. It's really good. Again, it's a soil enhancement. It's going to help those roots take up more nutrients and help them be more available to all the things that your fertilizer brings in. But a lot of times people can tell you, oh, you need to use this with your roses and that with your roses and Epsom salts and this and that and whatever. But basically, if you have good soil, you're going to have a good, easy way for that fertilizer to get in there. So try not to get too caught up in what you might need. Just wait until if a problem should arise, then you're going to address it very specifically. But otherwise, a good all-purpose fertilizer like that Down to Earth or this Grow More, which is a flower and bloom, it's going to help with, again, pushing out more buds and blooms. And this is a water-soluble one. This is a granular. So granular's easier to just throw on there, and this one you can use it once a month, or you can dilute it and use it once a week if you really want to kind of push your roses a little bit if you have an event or something. So that's fertilizing. There are a lot of other things you can do to help your roses. Starting in spring, the big problem is aphids. Here at the coast, we have one other problem. We'll get to that in a minute, but aphids. A lot of insects are very seasonal. So think of those 17-year cicadas. They come in spring. Every 17 years, aphids come once a year. It's in spring when all the new growth is coming out. It's tender. It's easy for them to eat. And then, you know, in a couple months, aphids are gone and you have moved into other insects that might be bothering your your roses. So a simple, easy solution is to use this insecticidal soap. But before you kind of get to that, it's like a real mild, easy way to kill all the aphids. You might want to consider using worm castings. And worm castings are something that we're really promoting a lot here because we're learning so much about how much they can do for your soil and for your plants. Rogers, we just got in this new pure organic worm castings. This is 100% worm castings. We also have some of the worm grow left, which has some other things in it, but we just brought this in, and this is super concentrated goodness for your soil. It's going to help the plants, it's going to help the soil, it's going to help the plant take up nutrients better. But one of the really cool things about worm castings is that it makes the plant not taste good to aphids and to whiteflies. So use this everywhere in your garden. It is just the best. Okay, it's this bag right here is $19.99. We have larger bags, but this stuff is super concentrated and really, really good for all of your plants, vegetables, everything. So just if you're trying to prevent pests from coming to your plants, use this. And if you have whiteflies on some of your plants, use worm castings. They're going to help to cure and prevent the pests. So as we move on, kind of in the pest calendar, usually in summer, roses will start getting Sawfly Larva or rose slug. This is a little worm. You're going to see it on the undersides of the leaves, and your leaves will look like Swiss cheese. It's kind of a pain, but it does come in summer, so you don't have to worry about it now. You'll worry about it once you see it. And one of the few things that'll work on it is Spinosad. This product, Captain Jack's, has Spinosad in it. We also have another Monterey product with Spinosad. Spinosad is a great thing for rose slugs, but you also want to make sure that you're only using it at nighttime, because Spinosad is not great for bees. So spray it on the plants at nighttime, or late in the day when the bees have gone home. Let it dry and try to avoid the flowers if you can. But that's Spinosad, and it does work very, very well. Another problem that roses will have is rust. Rust is a pain. Rust is probably my least favorite thing to get on roses, because when you see it on the undersides of the leaves, you'll see orange kind of spottiness. It does look like little rust stains underneath it, and it will eventually work its way through the plant, through the leaf. Rust means you need to defoliate the entire plant. So take every single leaf off there, every single flower. You don't need to prune it back, but you're going to take all the leaves, all the flowers off the plant, rake the soil underneath it, and then spray it with a copper spray. We have liquid copper. This is another good thing that you want to use in January when you prune your roses back to help prevent rust. You can spray it on the plant, on the soil, but if you do get rust during the season, attack it very quickly. It can spread very easily with spores through the air, so that's kind of, I would say, of the three problems that really affect roses. Oh, sorry, there's going to be one more. We have aphids, we have rose slugs, and we have rust. And the other thing, which is one of the downsides to living at the coast, or maybe only being able to sprinkle, to water your roses with sprinklers, is powdery mildew. This is a problem. Usually earlier in the season, especially here at the coast, we have that marine layer, and it comes in all the time with our May gray and our June gloom, and hopefully in July, the plants can burn off that powdery mildew, but you can use a mild disease control spray or some neem. Just get on it very early. Try not to get water on the leaves any more than you have to. It's going to help prevent it. When you have downy mildew, it can affect the photosynthesis of the plant, so you want to try and work on that and make sure, otherwise it's not going to grow as big and as healthy as it could. Let's see, what are the other things? Oh, this is a great product. Compost tea, we're talking about it all the time, but we have a special one for flowering plants and roses. You can use this once a month. You can use it in conjunction with an organic fertilizer or on its own, and you can also use it as a foliar spray. It will help with that powdery mildew. It's a tea bag. You leave it in water overnight, and then you can either water the plant with it, or you can put it into a sprayer and spray the leaves. This stuff is great. It has worm castings in it, and it has mycorrhizae. So in addition to the cow manure that is organic in here, this product is just fabulous. And then we're going to talk about keeping your roses healthy by pruning them. When you have roses throughout the season, you're going to want to deadhead them, and here's why. Deadheading them promotes more growth. And don't let anybody tell you how to prune your rose, although I'm going to tell you right now, so there we go. People will tell you, oh, you have to cut down to the part of the plant that has 5 leaves, or you have to do this, or you have to do that. We're going to tell you, cut it back for future growth. How, you don't want your rose to get too lanky and too big, so if you're only cutting it back to that first 5 leaves, maybe that plant will get too rangy and everything. If you want to keep it to 3 to 4 feet or 4 to 5 feet, prune it for future growth.
I'm going to pause you really quickly.
Okay.
Thank you, Suzanne. So we're still live on Facebook, but it looks like we went down for Instagram. So we're just going to, yes, this is what happens when you go live.
It's the magic.
Yes,
the
it
magic.
is. So we're going to reset Instagram. Okay, so people are getting back in the room. Please
Okay.
continue on.
So So now we're up to pruning, and pruning to me is kind of the funnest part of this. Obviously you're going to want to use rose gloves. I didn't want to bring them out here today, but 2 kinds of pruners. Believe it or not, these are actually really sharp and nice. James here sharpened these for me the other day. These are my personal favorite kind of pruners, especially if you're just kind of putting around the garden and you want to prune your roses. So we have this beautiful Eve Piaget. It has a kind of an older rose on it. You want to cut on a 45-degree angle, and the reason that you want to do this is so that should any water or moisture or anything get on that cut, it's going to drain down. Don't be too hung up on that, but it's a good thing to kind of start doing. And then I pruned it just for the look. There's another bud coming, so I don't want to cut it back too far. And just go through. You can see this one's kind of overblown. We don't want it, but just prune through, deadhead. Think about future growth, and always try and keep that nice openness there. It's always going to look prettier on the rose, and as your roses age, they're going to look even more beautiful each year if you have that beautiful shape coming out from them. But you know, kind of learn to enjoy it, learn to set aside a little time to just look at your roses, see what's going on, see if they have any pests or any sort of diseases. And then the last thing I want to address is watering. Watering roses should be done much like fertilizing, regularly. You want to water deeply and slowly, probably about twice a week. If it's really, really hot, give them an extra drink that 3rd time a week. But if I can emphasize anything with you, I want to say take your time. Water slowly. Make sure that that whole root ball is wet, because then if you do, you don't have to water as often. And this can be said for many, many plants. Water deeply, less often. Your roses are going to be a lot happier if you water regularly, rather than if you say, oh my gosh, I forgot about them, and then you water them a lot. They're going to spend a lot of energy hydrating and maybe blow out some of the blooms and grow kind of weird. Maybe have some brown tips on the edge, which this one doesn't have, but these are all absolutely gorgeous. But you want them to stay beautiful the whole year, and then at the end of the year you're going to cut them back and be ready for the next year. So that's about it for me. I just want to say, if you have any questions right now, I will take them.
Yes, we have a number of questions. Really quickly, for those who are watching on Instagram, it looks like we went down for a second. So if you asked your questions before we went down, they've gone away, but please feel free to ask them again and we'll be sure to answer them. So let's take those questions.
Okay. Do you have to cut at 5 leaves, as someone asked?
No, you don't. Cut for future shape. It's just, you can see your rose and see where it's going to need it. Sometimes you need to cut down far. And so, you can cut way, way, way down. Just make sure that you're giving it a good clean cut with sharp shears, and it should be fine.
Was gardening for monarchs rescheduled?
Yes, it was. Oh, actually, it's been changed to next month. I think it's June 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we switched that one around because we're very, very low on milkweed. It has just been flying out of here, and we don't have enough to really promote it because we want you to have that milkweed. We will have it in soon, and if you're on our email list, you will get an update on that.
All right, someone asked ladybugs for aphids?
For aphids?
Yes, thank you.
Ladybugs for aphids. You can use ladybugs for aphids as long as you're not using other pesticides. I think if you have an infestation of aphids, you'd probably be better off rinsing off the plant with a hose and using an insecticidal spray. The thing with aphids is that they are a pest. They're a bug, not a pest, sorry. They're a bug, and they will be affected by any pesticides that you use. So you have to make that decision to go all natural in your garden, or utilize insecticidal soaps, which are for organic gardening, but they are not. They don't select the bugs that they want to be effective on.
Okay, what shape are we looking for when pruning roses?
So you want to start with kind of a good rose, maybe 3 or 4 good canes, and you want to work towards, you don't have to start with it, but work towards a little bowl shape on the bottom. If you don't have that, just, kind of work towards it. It's not imperative that it look like this, but working towards it. You want to cut the cross branching through the middle, because then it just gets kind of tangled and doesn't look quite as nice. Again, you're working towards something and cutting cross branching, keeping it a nice bowl shape, keeping some basic stems is best rather than letting it just kind of go crazy, which you can do too. I mean, that's, you do you.
Suzanne, what's your favorite rose?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. And I am ready for this question. It is this one right here. It's Distant Drums. It is my all-time favorite rose. If you come into Rogers, I will try and sell you this rose like nobody else. Look at this. This is the same rose. It starts out these beautiful, dark, kind of salmony red buds, and then it opens, and then it changes colors every day. I love this rose. I always say it looks like a bruise in a good way. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Other ones that I like, because I'm really, for the first time in my life, I'm really getting into roses. Although I have always loved Distant Drums. It is my first and my only love. But I'm really into Colette right now, and you can tell almost by the colors of it what I'm really steering towards. I love that Princess Charlotte DeMonico. Love that one. And I just got a Sally Holmes the other day. I bought a gigantic climber, and love Sally Holmes and Lady of Shalott. Love that one. So you can tell I'm really into those kind of pastel-y, antique-y looks. Just my favorites. And I brought Yves Piaget. I don't know if you can see this. Yves Piaget is such a gorgeous rose. It is, let me see if I can bring Mr. Piaget over here. We've been highlighting this one. I know Sarah did a video as Plant of the Week for this one. This is gorgeous. It smells amazing. It stays pretty compact, but look at how big these blossoms are. It blooms a ton, smells amazing, but it only gets about like 3 feet by 3 feet, so you can really prune it and keep it nice and small in a good area. I didn't mention sunlight, but most roses, 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. Some people will tell you some roses do better without as much sun. Most of the English roses can take a little bit less, like the David Austins or the Super Romanticas, take a little bit less, but roses will bloom better with 6 to 8 hours of nice sunlight on them.
Is it bad to water the leaves?
It is. It can promote powdery mildew, so if you can, try and water at the base of the plant and just take your time, water slowly, get that deep watering in there.
All right, what do you do when you have mildew?
Powdery mildew, so you want to use either sort of like a fungicide, not the copper spray. You want to use either a disease control or neem. If it's not too bad, you can try neem. It's very safe and easy. Disease control is also for organic gardening. It's a fungicide and a bactericide, so if you might be fighting any other problems with your roses, that might be a good thing just to have in your arsenal.
Is worm casting good for citrus too?
Yes, worm castings is good for everything. Citrus can get whitefly, so it's a great thing to have into the soil, and just use it twice a year. Put a nice little layer, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch of that worm casting on the soil. You can work it in a little bit, but it will eventually work in with the watering, and it's really good stuff.
Okay. Could you possibly show all the products again, just briefly?
Sure, absolutely. Okay. Pruners. Pointy pruners. These are just the bomb. We have these pure organic worm castings. These are from Agrowin. These are OMRI listed. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this stuff. And we just got this in about a month ago, and I've been using it on my garden, and it has just been fabulous. So we have, this is the Boo's Compost Tea. It's for flowering plants and roses. It's got 4 tea bags in it, and it is great. You can use it once a month. I have horticultural oil. This is a good pesticide. I have it in addition to this, the insecticidal soap. I just want to say, if you have aphids, use most of the, use something as mild as possible, but if it's really bad, you can bump it up to horticultural oil as well. And disease control spray. This is great for powdery mildew and any other diseases that you might have on there other than the rust. The rust you want to attack with liquid copper fungicide, and that is after you have defoliated your plant, cutting off all the leaves, cutting off all the blooms. You don't have to prune it back, but it might be a nice time to take a look at that shape. And then you want to rake up all the leaves and the blooms, and then spray the ground as well as the plant. I have Grow More Sea Grow Flower and Bloom. This is a great water soluble fertilizer that you're going to mix with water, and then you can just water it on the plants. This basically sea kelp based. It's really nice. And then we have Rose and Flower Mix, which is our favorite, the Down to Earth. It's an organic fertilizer. It's OMRI rated, and it is to be used once a month. You can use it on your bedding flowers as well as your plants. Anything that's flowering, you can use this on. And then I have the Captain Jacks. This is for if you have rose slugs. They're going to come probably mid-July if you have them, and they will make your leaves look like Swiss cheese. That's how you can identify rose slugs, or Sawfly Larva, same thing. And I have Alfalfa Meal, which is an additive you can put in the soil to help the plants take up the nutrients from the fertilizer.
All right, can you use these at the same time? These products?
So yeah, but you would want to use, fertilizer each month, and then any of the pesticides you want to use when or if you see the pests and you want to be kind of specific with it.
Okay.
But, so for example, like insecticidal soap will not work on rose slugs.
Okay. If a rose branch or stem turns brown, does it mean it's dead?
Probably. You can just prune it off, just below the dead point.
Why does my damask rose not bloom this year?
I don't know. You might want to send us in pictures of it. It could have been pruned a little bit hard. Maybe it's just taking a little while. I'm not sure where you are. So it could be a time of the year thing. But send us in pictures or give us a call.
How many hours again does the sun need for the rose?
So a good rule of thumb is at least 6 hours. 6 to 8 is best. Some of them can take a teeny bit less, but less blooms.
Okay. And when is it the best time to water the rose?
Oh, at the end of the day or at the very beginning of the day. Most of the things that you're going to be doing to the rose, either do it very, very early in the day or very late in the day, just to make sure that the heat of the day isn't going to affect anything.
Do younger roses prefer less sun?
No, I think they would be the same. One thing I'll say about younger roses, especially something like this Yves Piaget, some of the roses don't have as much of their true color when they're young. So sometimes people will say, oh, I bought an Eden rose, and Edens are kind of a white with a pinky tip. But when they're young, sometimes they lean towards more white. The Yves Piaget will definitely color up a little bit more as it grows older. So sometimes just keep that in mind, that roses will have a richer color as they mature, just like us.
What time of the year do you prune and de-leaf for the dormant stage?
Anywhere from January 1st to February 15th here in Southern California.
Okay. Can you pull out a bush rose and transplant it somewhere else after it's settled, say a better location?
Usually. Roses are really, really hardy, so as long as you get enough of that root ball up there, it should transplant well. I would probably do it later in the year if you can. If you're moving or something like that, maybe you can't avoid it, but try and get as much of the root ball as you can. And you can put it in a container or a nice trash bag if you transplant it pretty quickly. Should be good.
Very quickly, there's a question here that says, do you guarantee your roses? And I'll just answer that. We do have a plant policy wherein you can return within
3 years.
Yes.
You have 3 years, which is amazing. It's a great, great guarantee.
It is indeed. And you can learn more about it on our website.
Mm-hmm.
Someone wants to know, do we carry the David Austin roses?
We do have some David Austin roses. They're one of the few roses we can't actually special order for you because they are so difficult to come by. So our grower will every now and then send us a whole bunch of them as opposed to one or two here and there. So it's best just to check with our outdoor horticulture staff what we have in stock right now. And we do have some in stock. They're furiously scrolling for questions.
There's so many comments saying thank you for this.
The roses are so beautiful here. You should come and visit, if only just to walk down and back our rose path. We have beautiful tree roses. We have climbing roses. All of our roses, by the way, here, just our staff here is so great. We have alphabetized everything. So it starts with A and ends with, I think Z, but I don't know if we have Zephyr and Droheen, but that would be our Z rose. They're really easy to find, really easy to see, and they are blooming like crazy.
All right, any suggestions for colors and if you should mix close together, or is some rose bushes tutorial?
It's kind of up to you. Roses are very, very personal. I just told you about all my favorite roses, and you might look at them and go, I don't like that. I like red, or I like yellow, or I like white. Pick the roses that you like. You're going to be more attracted to them. You're going to take better care of them if you love them. So there is a thing, some people like to have only one color of rose. You could do, like a full hedge of icebergs, or you could have all yellow, yellow and orange, yellow, orange and pink, whatever you like. Just make yourself happy with them, and you will take just the greatest of care with them.
Okay, so one here says, the spray for mildew and the spray for those little pests, can we use them at the same time? Because we have both.
Yes. So usually the aphids are going to be at the top of the plant, near the little buds, near the new leaves. You can spray, I would probably do, let me think. I would do the powdery mildew first, and then spray for the aphids. So,
all right, that seems to be all the questions for today. Thank you, Suzanne.
Please continue sending them, and don't forget to come to rogersgardens.com for online shopping. You can look at all of the roses that are available to buy and to order. We also have our YouTube channel, we have Instagram, and we have Facebook. Subscribe to everything, and you will find out about all the wonderful things that are happening here. On Thursday, you're going to see Sarah again for her live. I don't remember what it is. Do we know?
It's the plant of the week.
Plant of the week. Oh,
Tune in to find out.
Ooh, exactly. So we will see you then, and thanks for joining me.